Inducted into the Hall this year in the saddle bronc category is Mel Hyland. Mel Hyland was born September the 16th, 1948 in Edmonton, Alberta, and grew up on an acreage in Surrey, BC. His dad, Jack Hyland, and uncle Keith Hyland were instrumental in starting Mel on a career in rodeo. 2 years after turning professional, he captured the 1967 Canadian Saddle Bronc Championship. Former world champion and Hall of Fame bronc rider Sean Davis says Mel's ride at Cheyenne that year might be one of the best bronc rides he's ever seen. Sean still uses a video of that ride when teaching his young college rodeo contestants. Hyland qualified 11 consecutive times for the Canadian finals and won 3 more saddle bronc titles, 1972, 1979, and 1982. He qualified for the NFR every year from 1967 to 1977 and won the World Saddle Bronc Championship in 1972 and 1976. Mel was the first to win the Canadian and world titles in the same year. That came in 1972. Though he was known as a saddle bronc rider, he also managed to win the 1974 and 1975 Canadian Bareback Championship. As a surprise to Mel, but certainly not to anyone else, he won the Cowboy of the Year award in 1981. Known for his riding ability and professional attitude, Mel Hyland would easily be recognized by his classy stance that portrayed strength and confidence. Once this tough little fella, all stoved up with a broken pelvis and an injured back, climbed aboard a rank horse called Come Apart and won the Canadian Saddle Bronc Championship. As the 30-year-old cowboy struggled back toward the chutes, slowly pacing one foot in front of the other, it brought tears to many of the 10,000 spectators. It was one of the most incredible examples of courage that anyone has witnessed in professional sports. Shortly thereafter, Mel had a second chance at Come Apart. This time he was heeled up and ready to ride. Although the big horse didn't buck as well as he might have, Mel, being the true professional he was, rode him to an outstanding 81 points to take the lead in his event. As he quietly accepted the applause of the spectators, he walked back to the chutes, shook hands, and almost shyly accepted the praise from his fellow cowboys, which was so obviously due him. He then announced he was quitting professional rodeo. Yes, the young man from Salmon Arm, BC, who for 14 years had given professional rodeo some of its greatest thrills, had decided to move on to something else. Mel indicated he had given his all for 14 years, and now it was time to think about the future and his wife and new daughter. If you ask any of the young saddle bronc riders who their idols are, Mel Hyland's name is more than likely mentioned. Known by his fellow contestants as Big Bull, Mel Hyland was a man of small stature who cast a giant shadow.